snap. It's the Jets group chat pod bringing the facts.
We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
We'll meet you there. Matt, Jerry, Dennis, PJ, and Nick on track. It's the Jets group chat pod.
All right, welcome in once again, ladies and gents, to the Jets Group Chat Pod. I'm your host, Matt Cardos. On draft night eve, I'm joined here by my esteemed co-hosts, PJ. We got PJ in the house, and we got handsome Jerry Spiga, ready to board a jet.
Ready to board a jet.
Not quite John Abraham level, hopping on in the airport, but
not a PJ. I try, do what I can, man.
Jet.
You know.
Yeah. But getting ready to hop a plane to come to New Jersey of all places. So might be able to get something together for a little Jets draft night extravaganza with the.
See what we can do.
It's funny, we might see you more.
Got nice weather now.
We're gonna end up seeing Spiga more recently than we're gonna see Nick Bandoni.
Who's that?
Yeah, I don't even know who that guy is. So. Yeah, we're gonna get
we love you.
We're gonna get Spiga in New Jersey before we get Bandoni on the pod.
And he lives 4 minutes away.
Yeah, he lives 4 minutes from everybody. So, but yeah, obviously draft night is usually our time to shine, if you will, as Jets fans. We're usually drafting pretty high at the top, coming off of a terrible year. We've been thinking about it, fussing about it, talking about it since November, when it became apparent that the Jets were not going to be in playoff contention and that they were going to be picking somewhere in the top 10. Obviously, they finished with the 7th pick if they stay where they're at right now. And so, obviously, it's a new regime, though. You know, there's a new GM, there's a new head coach, there's an entire new coordinator staff. So anything that we might have thought we knew about how the old regime operated is all kind of thrown out the window. There's a lot of unknown going into this draft with
anything can happen. Anything can happen.
I just want to throw it to both of you guys. I guess PJ, I guess we could start with you. What do you think before we just get into specific players and what we'd like them to do with the holes that they do have? What do you think are the maybe 2 or 3 biggest holes that this team has right now that you're looking for them to fill in this draft?
I mean, it's probably what everybody else has been saying, right tackle, tight end. And like with that, like I was talking to Dennis about this last night. Like I'm on the Tyler Warren was the bandwagon, or whatever you want to say it. Like I want
you're in that camp, some would say.
Draft Tyler Warren. I feel like that's a good way to do it because Justin Fields just needs more weapons. He's what he did with Komet. But then he was they were like, I was like, all right, let me think objectively, right? All right, so what if they do draft tackle? What if they go Membu, right? And it's like, how is that gonna look? And we were talking about it. It was like they draft Membu, it's gonna be good for Brees, it'll be good for Justin Fields. And Jeremy, like who's a tight end? If Jeremy Ruckert is there, maybe. I mean, he's Ohio State. I mean, maybe they do this Ohio State thing. He's only 24 years old. He might, like, if he becomes like, you know, if he becomes something, it doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be the number 1 option, but he becomes like decent. You know, like he has a good year, like in that, then it would look smart that they got an offensive lineman, and then they got Jeremy Ruckert coming up. So that might be a thing.
Sure. No, I agree. It's not a bad way to approach it. Spiga, how about you? What's your just kind of analysis of the holes that they're going into with the draft, and I guess maybe what would your priority fill be among those holes?
I agree with PJ a little bit. You know, I look at it objectively where it's what's serviceable right now and what do you need right now. You're not going to be able to solve all of your problems. You're not going to be able to fill all your holes in one draft. We know that. Obviously, those big needs are you need a right tackle, you need a tight end, we need another wide receiver, possibly another corner. You could use some depth on the D line. But looking at the entire defensive side of the ball, I feel like you're serviceable. You've got players, you've got good pieces, may not be like tip of the sword type guys, but you've got guys who can play. The offensive side, I feel like, is where you need to focus and you really need some work. I mean, right tackle, you've got nobody. What? Carter Warren is your starting right tackle, right? No Max Mitchell anymore.
Oh, he's gone?
No, they
Is
still
he?
have Max
He
Mitchell.
still has him? Well, he sucks anyway, so who cares?
Yeah, you don't
Sorry.
want to start him though.
No, you don't want to start him. And then, but
he might as well be gone.
But the same thing, look at tight end and look at wide receiver. Wide receiver, outside of Garrett Wilson and who knows what the hell, Corley is going to do, not much either. And then tight end room, you have nobody. So I feel like, to me, I mean, you've got to go weapon. It's going to help a lot of different aspects of the game. And that's where, Tyler Warren steps in. He could be a blocker to help solidify some of the needs for the lineman spot. He helps with the receiving aspect to help ease the burden on not having a big receiving core. So I feel like he's the kind of guy where you get the most bang for your buck. Is he going to be there? Is he the right pick? Do they fall in love with him? Who knows? But I feel like for what you need, and you must hit on this number 7, you must get some type of blue chip player.
So then that means that Carter Warren would be the starter, right?
No, because I think the tackle market in rounds 2 and 3 is robust as well.
There we go.
PJ, you already sold me. I'm on your side of the fence right now, so don't worry. But you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of, you got some of the tackles from, what is it? Is it Minnesota, Boston College, another kid from Oregon. You got a lot of other beefy players in the back end. Whereas if you don't take, let's say, a tight end in round 1, do you really trust Jason Taylor's son? Is the other kid from Michigan going to be there? So who knows? So, I mean, whatever it is, we do this every year. You just got to fucking hit on this pick. Whatever it is, take a player, a baller. I don't care if it's a position of need or a fucking Cam Ward falls to 7. You take them. You take the best player on your board and you make them fit. That's what good coaches and good teams do.
Yeah, I think I kind of fall probably on the same side of the fence as you, although I don't know. I have a feeling I do think that they should fill right tackle if Membu is there.
Right.
The way it feels like it's trending right now,
he might not be.
It feels like there's a good possibility he might not be there anymore. But again, you don't know what's true, and that's a big thing that you have to preference this time of the year too. Is that you say it all the time, Spiga. This is what they call smokescreen season.
Mm-hmm.
Teams put different information out there to sway teams from doing certain things or make them think they're into a guy they're not into. But I mean, in the last week, or for the last 3 months, it seems like Membu or Warren would be the pick, with the probably favorite being Membu. But now it seems like in the last week or so, it seems like New England could potentially take Membu at 4.
Yep.
And the Raiders could potentially take Membu at 6. That seems like it's all predicated on where Genty goes. It seems like the hot pick now for Genty is going 5 to Jacksonville. It seems if he goes 5 to Jacksonville, the door's wide open for Vegas at 6 to go line. Pete Carroll, I'm sure, would love to build that line and go Membu. So it's when it seemed like the path was pretty clear for us to take Membu, the door maybe kind of opens now to go in a different direction. Not only could they just go Tyler Warren and add the best weapon that they could, but now there's a potential now that they could have a good defensive player on the board.
Can't roll out defense with this team ever in the draft.
Where a lot of people thought that a lot of people thought Mason Graham would be off the board or something like that, could potentially be there. Could now potentially be there at 7. Obviously, Aaron Glenn is a defensive-minded guy.
And it's the same thing like what you said, but look at last year. Everybody thought J.C. Latham was undoubtedly going to be available for us at 11, and then Olu was going to be gone in the first 4 picks.
Yeah.
Flip the script, it did not happen that way. No one thought Bo Nix was going to be a first-round talent, and there he goes just outside the top 10. Draft night's crazy because anything can happen. I mean, a lot of things, you never know what teams are really feeling, but to me, and so I feel like a lot of the other, Jet fans out there, just get a blue chip player. I don't care if he plays D tackle. I don't care if he plays right tackle. I don't care if he plays wide receiver. I don't care if he's a fucking punter. If he's going to be an all pro and he's going to be somebody who contributes for a long time, take him.
I'll be mad as hell.
Definitely not punter. Definitely not fucking punter. You know what I mean?
I think the thing you have to consider too is we just talked about what the needs are of this team all right now. But I think we could all probably agree too. The Jets aren't all in on going for a playoff kind of Super Bowl run this year.
Not
Kind of
necessarily.
building
No.
this. You are kind of building this for the long run. So if maybe you need a tight end right now, do you have to get your tight end right now in round one? Is kind of like
I feel like he's going to be a difference maker for the offense. Tyler Warren.
Tyler Warren.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys a question for real. Do you think, and again, I know a lot of times teams don't listen really to the nonsense that goes out, on fan pages. Maybe they do. Do you think the passing on Brock Bowers last year is in the back of their mind and being like, oh, fuck? No,
New regime. They weren't there.
I don't.
Well, I mean, I know, but still, just in general.
But I think if you go into this, if you had Brock Bowers on this team right now you're going into this draft without a left tackle or a right tackle, and there is no left tackle in this draft.
True.
So, we're worried.
That's why it's easier to find a right tackle than as a left tackle. If our need was a left tackle, I'd say, fuck it, you got to take somebody, take Banks, get oversell on somebody, the kid from Texas. But like right now, it's a right tackle. I mean, you can find that.
There's two ways you could look at it. If you take the right tackle, you're pretty much your entire offensive line is set.
It's set.
Moving
set
forward
in stone.
For years to come. I mean, you're going to have to pay Vera Tucker next year. That's to be decided. Simpson, you're going to have to pay him in a year. That's to be decided. But you'd have your two tackles and your center locked in for at least the next 3, 4, 5 years. You don't have to worry about drafting them. But you could look at it on the flip side. Granted, new regime, they don't give a shit. But in the last 5 years, they've used, 4, 5, 6 premium picks on the offensive line. They took Becton in 2020 and missed. They took Vera Tucker with a first-round pick. They took Olu with a first-round pick. They took Tippmann with a second-round pick. So that's now 4 premium picks in the last 5 years.
You've invested a lot into this. Yeah.
Yeah. They've already invested a lot of resources in the line. Are you now going to invest another first-round pick in the offensive line? Sure, you could, and that probably is the right thing to do. But it's a team that's really lacking in a lot of areas.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. This team has to start hitting on late-round picks. Look
Correct.
at the good teams. They find diamonds in the. Granted, I will give the Jets a lot of credit. As of late, they've found a lot of great undrafted free agent talent. They have. We'll be honest. Bryce Huff was one of them. But I feel like even 2 sometimes. 2, 3, 4, 5. It's the running joke every year that in 2 years, the guy's not even on an NFL roster. Not on the Jets, but like not on an NFL roster. And that's a problem. You've got to find some, playmakers, some guys who can contribute long-term later in the draft. That's how good teams win. And we have yet to do that.
Yeah.
Period. Outside of like a Michael Carter, outside of a Sherwood, outside of a... Exactly.
Yeah, it's all on that side of the
You know
ball,
what I mean?
too, Even the undrafted guys, Bryce Huff, undrafted, like they had a good knack for finding late defensive guys or undrafted defensive guys, but it seems like the offensive guys that were either under the radar or undrafted guys, those guys haven't even hit. And and PJ just brought up Ruckert. I mean, they used a 3rd-round pick on Ruckert. That's not like a shit draft pick. That was a pretty high draft pick. And I mean, he's got 18 catches in 3 years. So
and it's him and Jack Kuntz, whatever the fuck his name is.
Zach Kuntz and the kid they signed from the Chargers, Smiley or whatever that guy's name.
Oh yeah.
Stone
Smart. Yeah,
he's got a good fucking name though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, but my thing is, if Membu's there at 7, you lock Membu in. Your line is set. Moving forward, there are some good tight ends that are out there that you could snag in the 2nd round. Guys, like you said, Jason Taylor's kid from LSU, Mason Taylor. You got the kid from Miami, Arroyo.
They got Ferguson from Oregon.
Loveland. So, I mean, there are 4 or 5 pretty good tight ends that you could grab in round 2. But then you're also going back to who's fucking playing wide receiver too. Like where are you getting a wide receiver in it?
I think if you could see, that's also part of the problem. Wide receiver is not very top heavy in this draft. It's not really bottom heavy. It's like that meat. there's a lot of guys rounds 2 through 4. Well, again, hypothetically 2 to 4, because a lot of shit happens here. But you can get Texas got 2 good receivers. Ohio State, obviously, but he's probably going to go high. They have Higgins from Ohio State. Everybody loves Kyle Williams, I think it is, from Washington State. Like, there's guys there, but do you have faith that they'll pick the right one? Do you have faith that they'll pick one? Period.
Yeah. And what position is the deepest on their board where they think if they pass on a guy in round 1? And this is where I throw the other kind of caveat to you guys. If I think we're all pretty much in agreement. If Membu's there, Membu is probably the guy.
Yeah.
But you go Warren, not only is he filling tight end, he very much fills the role of almost
wide receiver too. Exactly.
And he blocks, which kind of covers up the tackle thing too. So when it comes down to it, I mean, there's a hell of an argument to take Warren. I've watched Warren a lot. He doesn't do anything that like wows you. He's just a good football player.
Solid.
He's not a Brock Bowers, but he's like a lunch pail guy. Like, he just goes out there and he just makes plays. But he's not the most gifted athlete. He's not the fastest guy, but he seems to get open. He makes good contested catches. You could almost use him as a gadget guy. You could put him in the backfield.
That too. That's my point. And again, do I fully endorse taking a tight end at 7? Absolutely not. However, if it's a guy who could, check 3, 2.5 boxes for you, maybe.
Which I think Warren does.
Exactly. A lot of those tight ends, they do stuff. Yeah, but this kid played quarterback. He played running back. He played wide receiver. He blocked. Like, he did everything in Penn State. And then, not to, go down this rabbit hole, but you never know. But then you got the Penn State quarterback coming out next year.
It's possible. Yeah,
if they draft high, then you got instead of us being the New York Buckeyes, now we're the New York Nittany Lions.
Yeah, and I also think an underrated part of this whole next couple days with the draft, a potential trade, tight end wise.
Yeah.
There's a lot of veteran tight ends that are rumored to be potentially traded in the next couple days, whether it's Dallas Goedert on the Eagles, Mark Andrews on the Ravens, Michael Mayer on the Raiders.
If Mark Andrews is available right now, you give them.
If you could trade, I mean, I think they're doubled up in the 4th round and the 5th round. If you could move one of those 4th or 5th rounders and cover that tight end spot, that would also allow you to kind of go ahead and take the lineman, fill the tight end with a middle round pick, and then now
you can still go back and get a receiver at 2.
Right, exactly. It allows you to open up a lot of different avenues if you could pull one of those trades off. So I think that's an underrated.
Yeah, but the trading thing is so difficult to do. You got to find the partner. The board's got to fall right. Someone's got to fall in love. But again, if an Ashton Gentry falls to 7, do the Bears say fuck it, give you what you want? I think there's going to be a lot more moves and a lot more trades this draft than others because there's a lot of doubling up on picks. Like the Jaguars have a shit ton of picks. There's so many teams this year more than late that have an abundance of top heavy picks. I think there's going to be some movement, not big movement, but movement.
It sounds like there's more teams that want to trade down than there is teams that want to trade up right now.
This is a middle draft. This isn't a top heavy draft. There's 5, 6 blue chip guys.
If that, yeah.
If that, and everybody else, then there's a gap between 11 to 20, and then the draft starts at 20 on. That's where your real value players are, which just tells me if one of those 5 blue chip guys falls to 7, you take him, whoever he is, take him.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I don't remember whose mock draft I read or some draft report I read yesterday, but they pretty much said a player that this is the most watered down draft class he could remember, to the point where a player that you can get at 6 or 7, you should be able to get at pick 20. There's no drop off from pick 7 to pick 20. Every player in between that is pretty much the same caliber.
It's just what's your flavor. Yep.
Right. Which is why there's not people busting down the door to trade up, because if you stay put, you can still get a good quality player that you'd get at 7, 8, 9 that you can get at 21, 22, 23.
Yeah, Schrager's talking about Shadur Sanders going down to 21 to the Steelers.
I see that happening. I said that a month ago. Like he's not that good. This quarterback class is not that good. Cam Ward's not that good, dude. Like
Yeah, I feel bad for
Cam Ward's Cam Ward's nice. Don't get me wrong. He's quarterback 4 last year.
Yeah,
he's
they said last year
7 the year before. You know what I mean? Like
they said last year, like he would have been rated around like what Bo Nix was. Like he'd be like quarterback 5 or 6 in last year's draft.
Yeah, and then he's going to the Titans, and the Titans aren't known for developing quarterbacks well.
Yeah, of course.
I just feel bad because I don't want him to be on that list where it's like another list of Titan quarterbacks that just doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Either way, I think the draft
it's a list only rivaled by the quarterbacks that the Jets have developed, right?
Come on now.
Or
It's
the
a
Browns.
family-friendly podcast.
Or the Browns, yeah. The Browns are right up there too.
Well, that's the thing, dude. The draft starts at 4 because you think 1, 2, 3 in whatever order is Cam Ward, Abdul Carter, and Travis Hunter, right?
As long as
theory,
Abdul Carter goes and he doesn't go to the Patriots.
Yeah,
he's not getting past
PJ's
the Giants.
petrified that Abdul Carter's going to the Patriots.
I don't want
I'd be more concerned that there's a world that the Patriots say fuck everybody and either take Gentry or somehow Travis Hunter falls to 4. It shouldn't.
I can't see that happening.
Yeah,
because I don't think if he fell to 3, I think the Giants would take him at 3.
I feel like if Will Levis was at least decent, the Titans would probably be taking Travis Hunter at 1. But he's not even at least decent.
He's not. That's what I'm saying. So let's say they go Cam Ward 1, right? Let's say number 2, the Browns say, nope, we don't take the best player available, bookend on the defensive side. Let's take Abdul Carter. I don't trust the Giants know what they're doing. Watch them fucking say, yeah, we're taking Shadur Sanders. And he bright lights. He's in New York.
If they take Travis Hunter at 3, I mean, that's fireworks.
Trust anything that they can do.
Yeah, but that would be.
They don't know what they want to do. They are so much fighting in that room, from what you hear. Like, but again, there's a world that could happen.
100%.
Yeah.
I also think you can't rule out just somebody saying fuck it and trading up to take a quarterback because they need a quarterback. Like, I don't know who that team
I
is.
think Dart goes higher than people think. What if
I
Dart
do
goes
too.
3?
I'm starting to get a feeling that Dart is going to go before Sanders.
I told you
I
guys,
think he goes top 10.
Dart is nice.
No,
He's
I like
good.
Jackson Dart. I just don't know that I would take a top 10 pick with Jackson Dart.
No. Ole Miss quarterbacks. It's a very not Ole Miss quarterbacks. Lane Kiffin quarterbacks don't translate well to the NFL. It's a very, very one-read driven offensive system, and it's tougher. I mean, there's guys you can catch on and figure it out in the NFL, but it's a very, very big gap from his offense to the NFL than a normal pro style like Texas offense or something.
Dude, I like Jackson Dart. Like I've been watching him a little bit. He makes some NFL throws, but it just reminds me so much of Zach Wilson. So much. The way he plays, the swag, the headband, the armband, just like
I feel like JJ McCarthy reminds me of Zach Wilson.
Scramble ability. Like they keep talking about his ability to scramble. His pro day throw was like the exact same throw.
Oh God.
Wilson,
Did you see he went to Miami? He's wearing number 0 now. Fucking loser.
Yeah, I read that today. Zach Wilson's going to wear number 0 with Miami.
Oh, 0 for
he was getting ripped to shreds on fucking. I mean, that is hard wearing 0. That's tough, but not when you suck.
Quarterback wearing 0 is weird.
It hasn't been done before, so if you're good, yeah.
But he's not. Whatever. Zach Wilson. Hope you figure it out, dude.
Vibes, but we also don't know. Like, I don't know. If Zach Wilson would have sat for 3 or 4 years and then played, like, would things have been different? Maybe. I don't know. Like, and that's why I think, like, football is so hard to evaluate because you could, if you're just a fan, you turn on, you watch a college bowl game. This guy throws for 400 yards a game, throws for 45 touchdowns and 8 picks, and they're like, oh, this guy can't play in the NFL. And you're like, I don't know. Just like, how do you evaluate that? How do you know what translates and what doesn't? People said Lamar wouldn't translate to the NFL, and the guy's the MVP. You know, Lamar was.
Yeah, they're trying to make him a wide receiver. Like,
yeah, everybody said if he was going to make it in the league, he'd have to move to wide receiver. And now there's no amount of first round picks that anybody could trade to get that guy.
And nobody wanted him when he was a free agent. That's the crazy part.
Yeah.
Nobody everybody should have been like in his front doorstep, but nobody was. It was crazy.
Weird.
Nobody even tried to make the Ravens an offer to get him when they were going to tag and trade him. It's just such a hard. Same thing with the draft when we took Darnold. I mean, Josh Allen was the third quarterback in that draft. The two quarterbacks that went late were Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson,
and they turned out to be the best.
And they're the two best quarterbacks.
Every position. Look at everyone was Evan Neal's can't miss. Now the Giants can't give him away. You know what I mean? It's like Thibodeau, who we're all, I want KT the year of the 2022 draft. He's about to get traded tomorrow night. Like, it's all a crapshoot. None of it is predictable.
Yeah, even the year we took Becton, the last one that was taken in that class, wasn't it Wirfs? Because they said he wouldn't translate to left tackle.
Yeah,
and now Tristan Wirfs is the best. Tristan Wirfs is the best tackle in the league.
I wanted him bad.
I wanted him too. He jumped out of the pool. I was like, yeah, I want that guy.
I wasn't mad that we took Becton because, again, he's just a mountain of a man. But
it was like Tristan.
Good for him. He won a Super Bowl.
This is a good one. In your Jets fandom for both of you,
Jeremy Curley.
What's the most frustrating Jets draft pick for you? Like first round, second round, like either guy you wanted and they didn't take, or just like you were excited that they took and just busted.
I think it's this year. I don't know if it's the same year when we took Jace Amaro. Wasn't Kittle in that draft?
He was a second round pick, I think.
But I think Kittle out of Iowa was in that draft, and I was like, he's going to be fucking good. He's a tight end who wears the number 15. I'm like, this fucker is going to be good.
Yeah.
That's one that I knew Kittle was going to be good, and we did not take him. I think it's that draft. Don't quote me. We might edit this, but
he was drafted in the 5th round. That's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. You could find guys if you have the right scouting and guys know what they're doing. You could find guys in these late rounds. You just have to find them, man. They have to start finding those guys on the offensive side of the ball, like they did on the defensive side.
Maybe
of the ball.
Maybe it was earlier than that. I definitely am wrong, but
the Jets almost never give out any second contracts, and you obviously hope that's changing here coming soon. But in the last 2 years, they gave Michael Carter a second contract, and they gave Jamian Sherwood a second contract. Both 4th, 5th, 6th round picks that they found now are on high dollar deals. They need to start finding those type of guys on the offensive side of the ball. Tight end, wide receiver, tackle, somebody. They got a hit on 2 or 3 of these 4th, 5th, 6th round picks that just end up being starting caliber players for them. They just haven't done it offensively.
First off, I was wrong. Kittle was in the 2017 draft, but I did know that I called him out that I wanted them to take him. They didn't. Number 2, I feel like we have this argument all the time where we scroll down the Wikipedia page of the NFL draft and you see all those Pro Bowl players late in the round, 4th, 5th, 3rd round, and it's always coupled around where the Jets are. Always.
Yeah.
Like, we took a Darius Stewart instead of Chris Godwin, Kareem Hunt, Shaquille Griffin, Kenny Halladay, Jonnu Smith, Trey Hendrickson, James Conner.
Yikes.
I think the one that made me the most, or the one that
Cooper Kupp.
The one that I was pumped about the most, but that didn't pan out, I think, was Golston. I thought Golston was going to be so good, and just was the opposite of that. But like you said it before, Spiga, the Jets have been so bad at drafting. They don't only miss on 1st and 2nd round picks, and then they go somewhere and do well. They miss on them to the point that they're out of the league 3 years after they're getting drafted.
That's what I'm saying.
They don't even get to another team. That's how bad these people are. Think about it. Like, how many 1st round picks were out of the league in the last 10, 12 years? D. Milner played like 2 years, was out of the league.
Devin Smith. Jason Amaro played for the Jets for 2 years. They cut him in the 2nd year.
Who else? D. Milner, Calvin Pryor, Quentin.
I liked that. I wanted him to do good.
Quentin Copels. What was the Ohio State linebacker?
Darren Lee.
Darren Lee.
Darren Lee. That was a weird one.
He was okay. He had a couple decent years, but like, just all these guys are out of the league in 3 or 4 years. They don't ever get second contracts.
Denzel Mims. Ugh.
Denzel Mims.
Ugh.
Elijah Moore.
Something happened there
He's still playing.
because he got hurt a lot, and he's still a free agent now, so I can't really
He's
say
still
it.
a free agent. Nobody
But I
wants him.
feel like, I don't know. I feel like something went on there. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Zach Wilson will be out of the league in a year or two. I mean,
Kyle fucking Brady.
Kyle Brady, poster.
Dwayne
boy.
Robertson.
Dwayne Robertson's a bad one.
Yep.
Kyle Wilson, he was okay, but
I liked him out of Boise State, though. He just couldn't turn his fucking head around. He wouldn't cover people. He's just...
the only ones you could say that were any kind of success long term were Leonard Williams, Jamal Adams, Muhammad Wilkerson,
Friend of the pod, John Abraham.
Sheldon Richardson.
Going over there.
And that's probably it that they've actually had like
Say those names again.
Muhammad Wilkerson,
Mm-hmm.
Sheldon Richardson,
Mm-hmm.
Jamal Adams,
Mm-hmm.
Leonard Williams.
Do you see one offensive fucking player on that list?
No. That's my point.
I was listening. I was trying to make a point. Dramatic effect.
It's fair. And they don't usually take guys in the first round with offensive picks. When they do, it's usually a lineman. It's either an offensive lineman, a defensive lineman. They've taken corner a lot in the first round. Even they've
Corner
taken Sauce in the
D
first
lineman,
round.
I feel like.
Yeah, they just don't ever. Garrett Wilson's the only playmaker they've taken in the first round, and look at what happened. The guy's the fucking best receiver they've had in 30 years.
Well, that's the thing. It's almost like the methodology of what they're thinking is still backwards. They still, I mean, granted, defense wins your championships.
They're trying to build a team like you built a team in like the 1980s.
That's what I'm saying. It's an archaic way of thinking. The game has changed now. You need big passes, long runs, and fucking showmanship on offense.
Yeah, get Tyler Warren.
Yeah. I think
settled.
I think when the pod started, we all wanted Membu, and now we're like, no, we got to get Tyler Warren.
No, listen, dude. I can care less who he is. Just make him good. If it's Mason Graham, be good. If it's Jalen Walker, be good. I don't fucking care. Be good.
I just want an offense that like looks like it was invented in this century. Like the Engstrand came from Detroit under Ben Johnson. Like I want an offense like Detroit had, like interchangeable backs.
They need another weapon. Yeah, in order to do that, they need another weapon.
Well, that's the thing.
Right.
Every other
Exactly.
offense has no names serviceable and having very, very, very good seasons. We can't. It's either Garrett Wilson for 1,000 yards or nobody.
Right.
Where's the middle of the ground? Look at the Lions last year. Look at all those guys who were kind of like middle of the road, 600 yards, 700 yards, but 5 touchdowns, 60 catches, 70 catches. It's like 100 catches and 1,100 yards, or it's 17 catches for 250.
Right. But I also, and I don't know if it's a really good idea to do that, but I've been trying a little bit to just look at the way Detroit has built their teams, since that's where Glenn has come from. And if you look at the guys that are playmakers there, obviously they took Gibbs in the middle of the first round. Obviously he's a home run hitter. And Jamison Williams was a first round pick. Obviously hasn't maybe worked out, but he's still a good playmaker, a deep ball threat.
Trade for
But other than that, all their other guys, Amon-Ra St. Brown wasn't a first round pick. He was a mid round pick. Sam Laporta was a second round pick. So like they found their 2 best playmakers in second, third round of drafts, and they built the offensive line with Penei Sewell and those other guys that they've taken in the first round. They even took quite a few defensive players in the first round the last couple of years. So.
Which is why if you're going a route to try to play Nostradamus to figure out what they're going to do, look at Tanner. What the hell's his name? Tanner Engstrand.
Right.
He was Detroit Lions passing game coordinator. Then before that, their tight ends coach and passing games coordinator, and their offensive quality control coach, and then offensive assistant, all with the Lions. So pretty much for the meat of his NFL career prior to being, with Michigan or San Diego, it's been that. So I could see them going with a model of what worked there. Shock the world, take fucking Gentry. There it is. That's my pick.
I just don't think he's going to be there.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, he's not going to be there.
I think if he's there,
he
then
can't
there's
get past.
if he's there, then there's a conversation to be had. You know, like that's a problem that I don't think they would be expecting to have. But if it ended up there, then that's something you have to talk about, and you'd probably have to move on from Hall and figure out a trade for Brees Hall.
What do you get for him? A second or a third?
You'd probably get a second round pick for him. But he's also going into a contract year. He's got to get paid after this year.
And
Are the Jets going to pay a Brees Hall that's never rushed for 1,000 yards, that's already torn his ACL?
at the same time when you have to pay Sauce and Garrett Wilson and Vera Tucker and Jermaine Johnson, or a combination of those? Like, where does he fall on that list?
Yeah, but you could also just run him into the ground this year. If he has a good year, you could franchise tag him, and then you got 2 more good years out of him, and then going into his 7th year, you could move on. I mean, at that point, the tread's probably off the tires anyway. And then you have Braylon Allen still there. I think it's something to think about if Genty's there. I don't think he will be. It seems like he's going to go 5. I feel pretty good about that. 5 or 6.
Jaguars?
I think the Jaguars are going to take him. I really do.
I mean, that would make sense.
I mean, it pushes so much talent down. I just don't want to be in a situation where I have to think about drafting Will Campbell. I don't think he's going to be good.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. It's just and that's the thing. You can't really put your thumb or your finger on it because you don't know anything about this regime. You don't know anything about Glenn. Nope. We don't know anything about Muji. We don't know anything about the way Engstrand wants to build an offense or run his own. We keep thinking it's going to be the Lions' offense because
this is his offense now.
But like, it's his offense. Maybe he wants to run a completely different concept. I have no idea. Nobody's even talked to. They pointed out that all the Connor Hughes and all the Jet beat writers pointed that out last week, that nobody's talked to Engstrand since he got hired. The Jets have not made him available to the media one single time.
Good.
So nobody even knows what kind of offense this guy wants to run, what his vision for the offense is. But I mean, just if you look at the personnel they have now with Fields, the 3 good running backs, pretty lacking at wide receiver, they're going to run the ball. You think that would be the MO of what they want to do. So if that's the case, do you go lineman? But maybe they don't want to run as much. Maybe they want to have another weapon for Fields as he scrambles out, and that would be Warren. I mean, there's a lot of
I like
there's
that.
what they can go, and we just don't know what the identity of the team is, and we don't know anything about the aggressiveness level in the draft of we don't know the way Muji thinks or Aaron Glenn thinks. We got to the point where we just knew what Joe Douglas was going to do or what he wouldn't do.
Yeah,
or
he's been vocal about building through the inside, building in the trenches. Here, it's like they could literally do anything. And I'd be like, oh, yeah, I can see it.
Which, like I said, are the Jets going to the Super Bowl this year? No. Can they contend for a playoff spot?
Bite your
maybe.
Fucking tongue.
Like if a lot of things go well, maybe they could contend for a wild card spot. But I think I would think we could all agree the ceiling on this team is maybe a wild card team if everything goes well. They win 8-9 games at their ceiling. So I think the point is to win as many games as possible, but you're also playing the long game here. This is year 1 of a program now.
Shed some of the dead weight contracts, shed some of that money, free it up, and then build the way you want it to, build the way you see it fit. But
right, like a lot of I saw a lot of chatter today. I think McShay has Jalen Walker mocked as the Jets pick at number 7 out of Georgia. But the way that Wilkes has normally run his defense is in a 4-3. Where's he lining up in his defense?
With Quincy Williams
and with Sherwood on the way out if that happens. But then again, you've spent 2 of your last 3 first-round picks now on edge rushers with Will McDonald, and now you would take Jalen Carter. So there's just a lot of things up in the air. But I mean, this is where it comes down to who's highest on your board. What do they look for in guys? And you don't know. That's what makes this draft so intriguing. Is just there's so many starting caliber players that are pretty equal in talent level, and the Jets have enough holes where you could really go with any of them and not be pissed off about it. But I I think everybody is expecting them to go offense, and I think that's probably the way they should go. But if they think that one of those defensive players long term is a better fit for what they want to do, even if, and again, we're talking about playing the long game. We just brought up the Quincy Williams thing. Maybe that's a problem you worry about next year. You play it out this year. Quincy's a free agent this year. You move on from Quincy next year, and you got your guy that slots right in for Quincy when he moves out. So it's not necessarily about building it for this year. I think they also have the long game in mind about who they can pay, because if they're paying Sauce Gardner, eventually Jermaine Johnson, if he's healthy, and Garrett Wilson, are you also going to be able to now pay again Quincy Williams? Are you going to be able to re-sign Elijah Vera Tucker next year when he's a free agent?
Right.
Meanwhile, you still don't have a quarterback long-term that you know. Brees Hall's going to be a free agent. So there's just a lot of long-term things that you don't know. And it's about developing guys that, if need be, you can let those guys walk, keep the salary cap low, and just keep a pipeline of young players coming in and out. That's the goal of every team. I think that's a perfect example is what they're doing at running back right now. They drafted a young running back in Hall. He's had some good years. They have two young ones now waiting in the wings that they like. If Hall doesn't have a good year this year, they're set at running back behind them moving forward with two guys that aren't going to make any money for another 2 or 3 years. So I think they want to have that kind of pipeline like they have with Hall across the entire roster. When this guy ages out, we already have two linebackers that are ready to come in. Sort of like Sherwood now with Mosley. Mosley had his time, really good player, too expensive now, let him walk. Now Sherwood is the guy. He's a younger guy, and they developed him. I think that's the kind of idea and the game plan that they'd want to have. But when you don't hit on, like we've been saying, the 4th, 5th, 6th round picks, when you don't hit on any of those guys, you can't have that pipeline. You're constantly dipping into free agency and overpaying to get it.
And I feel like that's the purgatory we've been in. You know,
100%.
We've never really had a try to even look at this year. We're saying you can go in any different direction because look at all the holes you have. There's no somebody waiting in the wings, just like, who do we need to really like shore up, as opposed to like, who do we need to plug in a body? So I don't know. I mean, I think gun to their head, you ask the Jets right now, where are they going to go? I don't think they know. I think the board is going to dictate so much. I know it's kind of stupid to say, but the board is really going to dictate the route they take.
Yeah.
I think they want to take the tackle, but if he's gone, who's next? If Mason Graham really falls, and you take him, I don't know. I also look at Schrager as a good barometer. He usually has like 90-something% accuracy in his first rounds, and he's got them taking Tyler Warren, but that's because Membu's gone.
Yeah.
And Gentry's gone, So we're going to see how that first couple hours rolls out, and I think then we'll know by pick 4, 5, 6 where the draft is going.
Agreed. Yeah, and that's what Rossini has been saying all day too, is that everybody's eager, if they are eager to trade up, is to get into that top 4 or 5, because they know that's the meat of the blue chip guys. After 5, all those blue chip guys are gone.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably the last of those blue chip guys, and that's why you have teams like the Broncos and the Bears that are eager to move up. I think the Bears are at 10. Like, that's a sweet spot for them to jump up 5 spots, flop 10 next year's first, and you go up and get the running back for Ben Johnson's offense that he'd be looking for. That's, I guess, a possibility there. But that's why it's tough for the Jets to move back there, because they're just they won too many games last year. That
just outside that cusp.
Goddamn, Aaron Rodgers had to throw 5 touchdowns in that season finale, and
6 blue chip players. We're picking 7.
Yeah, exactly right.
Speaking of, how's he not signed yet? I'm so happy we're on the other side of this.
I don't think he's playing.
You don't think so?
He just retired.
Did you guys listen to him on McAfee last week?
No.
It didn't sound like a guy that was thinking about football at all right now.
He would have complained about anything.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not an Aaron Rodgers shit talker. Like, I'm grateful he wanted to come to the Jets, and I'm glad that the Jets traded for him. In hindsight, like, it didn't work out, but it was the right move at that time. That was the only option. Again, what happens when you miss on the quarterback? Most teams don't ever get a second chance. They whiffed on Zach Wilson. He was the backup plan to that. in theory, it was a good idea. Just the injury threw it all off. The tearing the Achilles 4 plays in. That was the team that was built to win. Once they tore the defense down last year, and they lost all the linemen, it was doomed, and they just never got on the same page. But I'm not going to sit here and shit talk Rodgers, but it just didn't work out, and it's time to move on. A new regime's here. They weren't going to have a 41-year-old guy here to start off a new regime, and I get why they moved on. And he should too. He shouldn't have to go on national TV and cry sour grapes. Right. Move on. And I just found it funny that he was complaining that the Jets told him he was going to move on. They asked him if he was going to play football. And I found it interesting that when he was talking shit about the Jets, when he was telling the story, he said Aaron Glenn asked him if he wanted to play football. And he said, I'd consider it. He wasn't all in, right? So he didn't answer him, yeah, I'm in or not. He said, I'd consider it. I think
we're running a business here.
I think right off the bat, Glenn knew that he wasn't all in, and it would be so Jets to have gone with Rodgers and be here the night before the draft and not have a fucking clue who the quarterback was going to be this year because we're waiting on Aaron Rodgers to decide if he still wants to play football 3 months later. That would have just been so Jets. And so I really think it is a changing of the guard that they grew some balls. They stood up to the guy. They moved on. They ripped the Band-Aid off, and they're just kind of willing to say, you're not bigger than this. Nobody is bigger than this. And there's a new sheriff in town, and we're going to do this the right way. We're going to do this my way. And nobody ever has really stood up to Aaron Rodgers. Nobody's really not given him what he wants. And I think maybe that's the problem with Pittsburgh too. They're not crying for him. They're not rolling out the red carpet for him. They're like, we want you, but we're going to go in another direction if you don't sign here soon. So
you got till pick 21 to figure out what you're doing, dude.
Yeah, no shit. And so I think it's just to the point now where I don't think football. If you're what's the saying? If you're thinking about retirement, you're already retired.
Already retired, yeah.
He's been thinking about retirement for 5 years. Every year, every offseason, you have to go through the same conversation. Is he coming back? Does he still want to play? You got to wait 6 to 8 weeks to talk to him, and it's not a way for a football team to operate. And I think people have just had it with his bullshit, and nobody's caving to him anymore. And I think that's it for him. I really do think that he's. I don't think he's going to play for Pittsburgh. I really don't.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
He should retire.
Well, I'm excited for his career, but
yeah. All right. Just before we wrap here, guys, prediction time. I guess gun to your head, PJ. Who's the pick at 7?
Tyler Warren.
Speaker.
I'm excited for Justin Fields, bro. I wanted them to draft Justin Fields. Now we got him. Give him another weapon.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what Fields can do too. I really am. I think he's got some stuff in the tank that could still be unleashed.
I want to say Membu because conventional wisdom says build out the offensive line. It helps out a lot. It helps give Field more time. It helps the running game. It helps everything. I just don't think he's going to be there. So with that, I think, you pivot, and I think Tyler Warren's next man up on their list. I think it's Tyler Warren. And because Peter Schrager picked him.
That'd be great.
I too think Tyler Warren is the pick at 7. One thing I will ask, though, before we wrap, another name that I've seen a lot in the last 24 hours, if Membu's gone, there's a lot of chatter about this Kelvin Banks guy from Texas, offensive tackle.
Stop taking left tackles and making them right tackles. Stop it.
I wouldn't discount something like that happening either. If he's high on their board and they do want to go tackle, no matter what, I could see them because again, they're saying the talent level between all these guys from 7 to 20 is the same. Banks is projected to go somewhere in that middle, 13 to 16 range. But I mean, if that's the guy on your board that's highest, I guess I can't knock it. But
Schrager has him going 14 to the Bears.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not outside of the realm of possibility that if they definitely want to tackle, he's the next tackle, they can go that way. But
right.
I don't know. I'm just going to operate in the year 2025 of a non-archaic offense with a couple weapons.
It's going to be a defensive pick, right? Now you're talking me.
They're going to take going to take the safety. They're going to take Barron or something like that.
No, they're gonna take Jahdae Barron, the cornerback from Texas that everybody's been talking about.
They're going to take a corner or a safety, just like something that nobody's mentioned at all. We just spent 45 minutes talking about Tyler Warren and Membu, and they're going to take a safety.
They're going to take someone we didn't even mention on this fucking podcast.
He's not even in the mock drafts in the first round.
They're going to take Mike Green from Marshall.
Well, dude, do you
Stewart.
remember when they took Will McDonald 2 years ago? I was like, who the fuck is Will McDonald? I had no idea who that was. Like, I never even heard of it.
Who would they take him over?
I don't even remember who was.
Hold on,
who
let
was
me look it
who
up.
was
There
behind him.
was a lot.
Yo,
of
hold on.
talent
No,
in the
remember
draft.
they wanted to get Broderick Jones, but the Patriots traded.
Right.
So
So they
traded
passed.
with-
Yeah. So they
Yeah,
passed on JSN, Jackson Smith,
Right,
Najibba,
JSN was still on the board. Yeah,
Zay Flowers. We liked. I mean, to be honest, outside of Sam
Will
Laporta, but
McDonald's
who else?
fucking
That's
good.
it. Will McDonald's good.
On his own though, he's good.
yeah. No, Will
Yes.
McDonald's good, but I just thought it was funny at that time.
Yeah,
I had no
it was.
idea who the guy was. I never even heard his name.
No.
And they're like, it's like one of those guys that like ESPN has to like dig through their files to hope they have like tape on to show.
Iowa State, though, right?
Yeah, I think that's where he went.
We love picking guys from the same fucking college over and over.
But yeah,
Real quick, last question of the day, then we could wrap.
Yeah.
Who do you think is more likely to get on a podcast this year, Tanner Engstrand or Bandoni?
it's a good question.
I'm gonna take Bandoni.
Yeah, I'd probably lean Bandoni, but it's the odds
No.
aren't greater than 50-50.
No, absolutely not.
He's
We'll get to
usually
next.
good- He's usually good for 1 a year. I think before December rolls around, we'll get him on.
We'll see. He'll sneak in there on a random Thursday podcast in the middle of the dog days of the summer.
I may have to randomly run into him at the bar and record a video with him at the bar,
Yeah.
and then I'll add it into the podcast, and that might be the only way we actually
Do
get
it.
any kind of content with Bandoni on the pod. Yeah. What does Dennis have, like a black eye or a swollen eye or something? I can't wait to see what that guy looks like.
Yeah.
He always does weird stuff.
Yeah.
Love you, Dennis.
And this episode is As the Pod Turns.
As the pod turns.
On that note, folks, at this point when you're listening, draft night is tonight. Should be exciting. Should be a lot of intrigue into what's going to happen, especially in the top 8 or 10 picks as it pertains to the Jets. So it's a consensus. All three of us think Tyler Warren's the pick, which means he will not be the pick
Facts.
for sure.
Yeah.
One thing's for sure, he won't be the pick. So yeah, tune in tonight. We'll see what happens, and we'll come at you next week with our reaction to being wrong about the pick, and we'll break down what the Jets ended up doing.
Get my man G-Dub5. Get him some help, baby. Come on.
We need something, man. We need another weapon, 100%. Yeah. All right, gents, we'll enjoy the draft tonight, and let's go Jets.
Jet up, baby.